Ooh. That high fish kind of like that drop. Ooh, that's a bigger fish, I think. Keep it chasing. Come on. Whew. All right, we are out of the spot. I quite literally ran out here to try make most of my time. Not sure if the camera's able to pick that up or not. I was going pretty fast. Need to slow down. I'm gonna pull a hammy. All right, we're getting close. Finish strong. And actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole and get a tip up set up first, just to have something going. Then I'll kind of explain what we got going on, what we're fishing. Get my finicky fooler set up here. This is going to be on just a plain tungsten jig and a minnow. Not even gonna use my Vexlar right now or my live scope. With these tungsten jigs, they're heavy enough, and I know I'm kind of fishing a little bit harder bottom. So I'm literally just gonna get it all the way to the bottom, pull it up like a foot, maybe 2, and call her good for now until I can get everything else set up. So there I can see we're on bottom. So I'll just basically get it tight so I'm right at the hole. Then I'll pull it up, give it a little bit more. Then I like to get my finicky fooler set up, actually so it's kind of facing down a little bit more as opposed to sitting upright a little bit more, and that is just so that the line will peel out a little bit easier, one less thing for it to get stuck on. Now we're gonna finish drilling out the rest of the holes here and kind of run around with the live scope, kind of hole hop in here. So as we're waiting for that kind of prime time bite, I'm going to kind of talk you what we're sitting on right here. As I kind of pan out that way, you can see it gets just a little bit deeper. It's actually showing it much more than the map does and much more than I've seen when it's by boat. This is honestly probably 1 to 3 feet of a difference from the top of this thing to the side. And essentially what this is just a hard bottom to soft bottom transition. And if you watched my top 5 walleye location videos for early ice, this was one of the ones that I talked about. It's a very sneaky spot that doesn't get fished a lot, because it's one of those things that unless you stumble upon it, you really got to be intentional about using your boat and using your side imaging. As you can see right here, you can see a little bit of a drop off, and you can actually see where it gets to be a little bit more soft bottom, where it's not quite as thick red on the live scope. So it gets a little bit deeper, a little bit softer bottom. And that is kind of out on this area. We are kind of on the edge a little bit more on that transition to the hard bottom. As I pan behind me, you're gonna see it kind of come up. You can see it get a little thicker red, and it's going to come up a little bit shallower. Not a lot, like I said, it's just a small spot. You won't even really notice it a whole lot on the contour difference because they're so spread apart because it's such a big area. But essentially what this is a little hard bottom spot. I'll show you on the Omnia Premium Pro app kind of what that looks like. You can see the different bottom hardnesses on there. And so as I kind of pan around, you can actually see some fish. My dead stick over there, you can see some fish hanging out over by that dead stick right on bottom. So that's right over there. You can see that's a little bit harder bottom. Up top is a little bit shallower and harder. This is kind of that white return that you're looking for on your side imaging. And then as like I said, as I pan around, it drops off to a little bit deeper water. Again, I don't know if I'm not super level on the live scope right now, but typically what I have seen is it's really only a change of maybe at most from the very top to the deepest part is about 5 feet. These fish tend to start out deeper, move a little bit shallower. As it gets darker, and they're kind of moving on to this hard bottom stuff. And the fish that are here are kind of cruising. You know, I haven't seen where they're really hanging on one spot. If they are, it's typically running those transition lines, which is pretty close to what we're on right here. We're pretty close to one of those transition lines. I've kind of marked it out when I was out here with my side imaging, marked out where it went from hard to soft, and we're pretty close to right on that. And that tends to be where they'll run, and then they'll kind of move up a little bit shallower. So I have some holes drilled up shallower. As the night goes on, we might move up on top of there a little bit more as well. And so that's kind of what we're working with here. And honestly, one of the other things I wanted to mention is these can be great in a lot of different areas, but especially early ice, if they are adjacent to some of that shoreline break. You can see we have a pretty steep shoreline break right off, and then this little bit of a point, or whatever you would call it, a little bit of a bump out where it's hard bottom. That is even better, being to have that steep break where these fish might be cruising, but then also having that transition from hard bottom to soft bottom. It's just gonna be increase your odds for having a high percentage area. And that's what you're looking for during this kind of last light, when you only have maybe an hour to fish, being able to hit these high percentage areas where you know there's gonna be fish, and hopefully when they are here, they are going to be aggressive because that's what they're cruising around doing. So that's kind of the rundown of what we're doing, what we're sitting on. And now we'll just kind of move around, see if we can find some active fish once it gets to be a little bit darker. Oh, speaking of the devil, actually scared me a little bit. It's not running anymore. So I don't know if it's still on or not, but we will see. Sometimes they'll grab it. Oh, there he's maybe going a little bit again. I think I have everything recording. We'll slowly pull up on it, see if it's still there. Yep. Does not feel big. Feels quite small. I actually wouldn't be surprised if I end up losing it. But we have a walleye. There we go. Just a tiny little guy. And I was wondering if that's what some of these were. We will get him. Oop, right back down. Get that ice out of the hole. Get the tip up reset. And we'll be back running. Again, like I said, I like to have mine set so it's a little bit further down so that line can run a little bit easier. Another tip that you're going to want to do is, if you probably can't see this because I don't have the head cam rolling, but you want to clear that spool. Sometimes when you take it off or you're taking off fish, it'll get ice on the line, and you want to make sure that your line is free of any ice, any water, because that stuff can freeze and then it's not going to spool out quite as nice. So before you set your finicky fooler up or iFish Pro, whatever you use for a tip up, make sure that is free of any ice or anything like that so it doesn't lock up and that fish will feel that and spit it. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have a fish on here. I was just setting it up and I was wondering why. It wasn't going, but I think there's a fish on here. It does not feel very big again, but it's still there. Yeah, maybe a touch bigger, but not a whole lot. Yeah, it's not feeling much bigger at all. A couple dinks to start. Ooh, we'll get it in the sun a little bit. There we go. Another one on the board. I don't have my head camera on, so you won't see it go down. So just for reference, when I'm setting it down, just to see like what there is for the bottom separation, that's right on bottom. So if I pick it up, that's about a foot. So you can see where my bait is right now. That's about a foot off bottom, maybe a foot and a half, getting closer to 2 feet if I get it up to here. So that's kind of what that looks like on the live scope. So a little bit of dead zone down there. I can just see that sun is getting to the treetops there. So that's about perfect timing right here. There we go. Not a giant, but a touch bigger than the ones on the dead stick, I would say, or on the finicky fooler. Oh yeah. Oh, but I didn't even turn my head cam on. Not super big, but getting right close to that eater size if we wanted to keep. Man, it's not super cold out today, but line still is freezing a little bit. Ooh, we have some fish cruising through on up high here. I don't know if they're crappies or Cisco's. Maybe we'll find out. My guess is Cisco's if I had to guess. Yeah, you see how they're darting like that? That's definitely a Cisco. Cisco tool will be cruising through there. Be fun to catch one of those. Yeah, they really like it when it's dropping. Oh, there we go. Oh no, everything's frozen up. I'm gonna go, oh no. I'm guessing that was a Cisco. Remember I was saying earlier, make sure your line's not iced up? Yeah. Well, we had some water come out of the hole. In the meantime, I set my rod down and of course, stuff was frozen up. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that was a Cisco. You could see how it was chasing and bit like that. Definitely a Cisco. They were coming through suspended, and man, you can tell those things love it on the drop. Go check my tip up here real quick. Make sure I have bait on it. A little bit hooked goofy, so I'll rehook it. There, I'm on bottom. Reel it up a little bit. Oop, there's a fish on there. Well, I'm not too far away from my other one. Feels a little better. Feels a little better. Oh yeah, that's a better one. Good thing we're not far from the main camera. Run them over to the other camera quick, show them off. Give her a drink. Right, there we go. A little bit better one. I don't know how well that's gonna show up, but we have a first decent walleye of the year. That is what it's all about. Who needs, whoa, feisty, feisty, feisty. Like I said, I guess who needs a live scope? I was just over there setting that line. I want to make sure it had bait on, reset it, and sure enough, pick it up, and there's a fish sitting right on it. So we'll go get that one reset. We'll come back over here, do it all again. Ooh, there's one. There's one. Ooh, swung and missed. He was aggressive, but not big. Now we're using those ones that are aggressive and big. There we go. That one came up and hit a second time. Yeah, these little ones. I'm not even really bothered. Well, there goes my light again. Man, I don't know what is going on with that, but it's sure frustrating. Well, for anybody that wants to get into filming, you can see it is work, and man, be prepared for things to fail. So ooh, that high fish kind of like that drop. Ooh, that's a bigger fish, I think. Keep it chasing. Come on. Yep. That was that high one that was cruising through. I should. What do we got? Solid walleye. Oh, a solid walleye. Man, that was a struggle to get that guy in. You could see that one was that high fish. Oh, he wanted it aggressive. That was some cool live scope footage right there. That is so much fun when they do that. But you could see that one was super high, and I just kind of pulled it up there, honestly. It wasn't in a group, so I didn't think it was Cisco, but it was also so high that I didn't know if it would be a walleye. I know they will definitely do that, but since it was by itself, I figured it was a walleye or a pike. So I pulled it up, and sure enough, it came through, ooh, and bit. Oh, let's try to get that guy. So you can see, like I said, probably one of the better ones of the night, maybe right around that 20-inch mark or so, but a great fish. Had a few of these. I'll get my headlamp out so you can kind of see that release. Ooh, there it goes. I did really quick want to touch on the setup as well. I know I talked a little bit while I was fishing, but a lot of the fish that I've caught have either come on that small tungsten jig on the tip up, or it's come on this clam pinhead minnow. And this one is the Wonder Bread. It was glow, and that was the main thing that I was looking for. I'm actually glowing it up right now. That's probably why you can't really see me on the camera. And so we have that glow pinhead minnow. I'm gonna drop back down because we have a fish cruising down. But that is also paired with this 34-inch medium from Piscifun. This is my first time actually using this rod, so I haven't got a real thorough look. I know I've talked about it in my last couple of videos. Haven't got to give it a big run through. From what I can tell so far, it's a 34-inch medium. I would say it's definitely more like a medium light. And the other thing is it seems to be a little bit more of a medium, more of a moderate action, I should say. You can see it doesn't have that really quick tip. It's a little bit more throughout the rod. And so you could see that on a lot of these fish that I caught. It was kind of bent throughout, a little bit more of that moderate action. So again, I'm gonna give these a little bit longer run through before I really give a lot of my thoughts and opinions on it. But as far as the build and quality, it's good. Action, a little more moderate, a little bit more like a medium light, and that is paired with the Piscifun Carbon X2 1000 with an 8-pound ice braid and an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. So that's been doing a lot of the damage, and that's actually pretty much the same setup on that other one as well. Same rod, same reel, just a little bit different color pretty much. If you're interested in any of these rods or reels, use code TJE15. I'll put the links down below for all of this, but a very good, the reels, you know the Carbon X lineup, they are awesome. But so far what I can tell, these rods, if you are looking for a very inexpensive way to get a quality rod, seems to be good so far if you're looking for that little bit more moderate action and a little bit more of that medium light.
Hello,
hi, I would like to place an order for pickup, please. I will get 1 order of sweet and sour chicken and 1 order of General Tso chicken. All right, I was getting hungry, so I had to order some Chinese. So this video is officially sponsored by 4Cs Park Rapids, Minnesota. We're gonna pack up, we're gonna head out. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I appreciate the support. Really looking forward to pumping out some ice content this year, some walleye, some crappies, some trout, a little bit of everything going on. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.